Hey guys, welcome back to another video on my channel. Well, this is the second episode of What If Ash was smart, a bit mature, or just a normal teenager in his adolescence with some preparation on his journey. So, those who hasn't seen the first episode, you can just check out the episode from the channel, or just go down and click on the link on the description or the playlist section you can find out there. Anyway, so if you haven't subscribed to the channel, then subscribe and turn on the bell icon for the notification of the series which I'm uploading right now. And you can check out the channel for others. Anyway, let's begin.
Bajo.
Ash and Pikachu were currently on Route 1, heading toward Viridian City. Ash was humming happily as he saw different Pokemon en route. He didn't want to capture a Pokemon right now, as he wanted to build a bond with his Pikachu before doing that. Pikachu was his starter, thus he would be an example to the other Pokemons about the kind of trainer that Ash is. And Ash wanted his Pokemon to become his family. A strong bond with Pikachu would exemplify that. They came across a clearing, and Ash decided to stop for now. He had a week to get to the Viridian city and wanted to get to know his starter better. He turned to Pikachu and said, "Hey buddy, we are going to be stopping here for a while. I want to get to some training in before we reach Viridian city, and this would allow us to get to know each other better." The route between Viridian City and Pallet Town was the best place to have an isolated training session. Pallet Town was small and didn't have many tourist attractions other than Professor Oak Laboratory. As a result, trainers rarely traveled to Pallet Town. The only one who did were newbies who wanted their starter, or experienced trainer who had Professor Oak as a sponsor and wanted to visit their Pokemon which were in Professor's ranch. The newbie trainer had already left today. An experienced trainer either flew or used teleport. So the route between Pallet Town and Viridian City would be free of any trainers, allowing Ash and Pikachu to have an extended, uninterrupted training session. He pulled out his Pokédex and pointed it at his Pikachu, who was looking on it curiously. "This is a Pokédex. It will allow me to know your current movesets, your ability, and will also help me teach you new moves. I'm going to scan you, okay? Pika Pika." Our Pikachu replied. Pikachu, the mouse Pokemon and the evolved form of Pichu. It has a small electric scratch on both its cheeks. If threaded is loose, electricity charge from the scabs. This Pikachu is a male and has the ability Static. Note, his hidden ability Lightning Rod has been unlocked. This Pikachu knows the move Tackle, Thunder Shock, Quick Attack, Growl, and Tail Whip. This Pikachu knows the move Volt Tackle, but it has not been unlocked yet. Wow, Pikachu, your ability happened to be already activated. That's amazing! Exclaimed Ash happily. All Pokemon has one ability depending on the species of Pokemon, but some of them had a hidden ability that activate under special circumstances. It was a rare phenomenon, and Ash was excited that his trainer has such an ability. The Pikachu popped up his chest out proudly. Okay, so what we are going to do. I'm going to assess what you are right now and how much you perfected your moves. Once I had an idea, we will stop for lunch. How about that sound? Pika Pika Pika. Pikachu nodded his response of the plan. Alright, let's see how much stamina you have. Pikachu, you see that tree over there? He pointed a tree about 20 yards away. I want you to run to that tree and back as fast as you can without using quick attack. Repeat till you drop. Pika, he exclaimed his acknowledgement and started his exercise. 6 minutes and 40 seconds later, the Pikachu was ready to stop, but Ash encouraged him to keep going. After another minute or so, he was ready to drop. His muscles were screaming at him for the abuse they were under, and Pikachu was having trouble to even stand. Your base speed is not bad, but it's much higher than I assume it will be. It can still improve through your stamina is fucking poor. That's one of the things we have to prioritize. Pikachu, he helped not liking the statement anyway. So what you know is true. You just lasted 7 fucking minutes. Pika 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 pika. It's Pikachu said while shaking his head and sparking his cheek with his electricity to guide his point across. We have a gangster here. You're saying that we should not prioritize stamina more than learning moves, powerful moves. Is that what you're saying? As hoping he understood what Pikachu was trying to say. Pikachu, he exclaimed while nodding his head. How do I explain? Ash pondered for a minute, trying to put his thought process inwards. You just fought in the wild before, right? Ash waited for Pikachu's nod. In the wild, you just fight Pokemon once, and at that time the battle ends in a few seconds. Sometimes lasted a couple of minutes. After that, you can rest. Am I right so far? Again, he waited for the Pikachu to nod. Well, you rarely fight wild Pokemon now. You will fight trained Pokemon who are sometimes so weak that you can defeat them with your weakest move. And sometimes they are so fucking powerful that you cannot even put a scratch on them with your most powerful attack. Plus, most trainer battle involve 3 to more Pokemon. With your current stamina, you will be nothing more than a fly, and they can even defeat you with just a small move. So even if you defeat your first opponent, you will be so tired that you cannot put a fight against your second one, and even you defeat the second one, you cannot run again. Now, do you understand that need for physical conditioning? The Pikachu admitted grudgingly. It looked like his trainers know what he's doing. Our gangster Pikachu understood a bit. Don't worry, Pikachu, I will help you learn new moves as well as I plan on having 2 training sessions a day, and I will definitely use one of them to teach you new moves. Okay, buddy? As assured his trainer while softly petting his earning a coup from him. After sitting like this for a few minutes, he continued. Now, how about we see the status of your current moves? Then you rested enough. At Pikachu answer nodding, he said, "Alright, let's do this. I have no idea how to see the effect of your growl and tail whips attack, so we'll just have to wait for an actual battle to test them out. Now, I want you to use a quick attack on that tree and the back." Pikachu bounced up as a yellow blur, appearing as a yellow streak. Not bad. As we improved your base speed, I'm guessing your speed in quick attack will also improve. If we improve it to a high enough level, maybe you can even learn extreme speed. Pikachu, the Pikachu exclaimed greedily as the thought of powerful move. After that, I want you to keep using quick attack around the clearing. Don't go in a straight line. Go about it in a zigzag pattern as if you are dodging an attack, then stop and then turn around sharply and continue. I want you to see how much you mastered this move. As Pikachu was about to go and do the task, Ash was making notes in his Pokédex. Once satisfied that he had learned all he could about the move, he called out to Pikachu. Alright, that's enough. Now you see that boulder over there? I want you to use your hardest tackle attack on it. Humans would have to train their bodies for years before they thought about doing something like this shit. But the bodies of the Pokemon were much more tougher than humans. As he saw the effect of the tackle attack, he made another note on his Pokédex. Okay, Pikachu, now the final attack before we stop for the lunch. Use your most powerful Thundershock attack on that boulder. A powerful bolt of electricity hit that boulder, much more powerful than what Ash was expecting. Holy shit! That was one of the most powerful thunder shock Pikachu. That was amazing! Exclaimed after he managed to pick up his job from the ground by Mew. He had one powerful starter. Pikachu. The fucking Pikachu. Actually, Pikachu, the gangster Pikachu exclaimed proudly of the attack. He had spent countless hours trying to make that move more powerful. You were great, Pikachu. Let's stop for lunch now. And with that, Ash took out his cooking essentials and started making a lunch for two of them. The food he made for Pikachu was one specialized for electric Pokemon to help them properly. Ash made sure to sprinkle a couple of orange berries on top to help Pikachu recover some of his strength. That was the best he could do. Any further specialization in food has to be done by the Pokemon breeders. After eating, he told Pikachu his observations. You have mastered your quick attack. You can dodge while in quick attack without losing any speed, but abrupt changes in direction cause your problem. You lose your speed and end up quitting your quick attack before starting it again. We will have to work on that. In addition to your tackle attack is mastered, we can only improve that by improving your base strength. Your thunder attack is more than mastered. We don't need any work there. Because you nodded along, agreeing with most of what his trainer said. For the rest of the day, we will continue mastering your quick attack. I will only teach you new moves once you master your existing ones. Is that agreeable with you, Pikachu? Nodded the Pikachu, accepting the logic in his trainer's word. For the rest of the day, they worked on quick attack. It was frustrating at first before Ash had him start making sharp turns at his lowest speed to get a feel for the movement needed. This helped. By the end of the day, Pikachu had made slight progress into his mastering of quick speed. With the knowledge of how to go about his training, he would need another day or two to completely master, but both trainer and Pokemon were satisfied with his progress. Now they lay in Ash's sleeping bed, making their final preparations for sleep. Hey buddy, we are going to stay at this spot for the next few days. At Pikachu curious gaze, he murmured Pika as elaborate. I want to train you further before moving ahead with my journey. You are my starter, and as such, I expect you to be a leader to the rest of the Pokemon I caught. Think you can do that for me? Pikachu, murmured Pikachu while nodding his head. Thanks, buddy. I knew I could count on you. With that, Ash retracted out his hand and put it on Pikachu's head, getting no protest from his starter as pets his Pikachu getting a soft chop from him. With that, both drifted off to sleep with a content smile on their faces. And the rest of the week went by. The first day was spent only on Pikachu's first mastering of the quick speed, and they had accomplished the goal even by as high standards. After that, a routine was made, something like that, and Pikachu spent the day from breakfast till lunch on improving his stamina and getting fitter. They worked on Pikachu's base speed as well as his strength. To improve his speed, Ash had Pikachu first run around the clearing for half an hour. This helped Pikachu build his stamina as well as strengthen his core, therefore allowing Pikachu to get faster while training. Then Ash and Pikachu do sprint while in their base speed from one point to another and repeat the same while using quick speed. After this session was over, Ash helped Pikachu lift some rocks with his tail to stated this would be useful to teach Pikachu Iron Tail later on, a move that is an absolute must for Pikachu to give it to a move that can actually work against rock and ground type Pokemon. Ash was planning to on teaching Pikachu Iron Tail before they reached Future City, since as of now Pikachu had no chance against Brock's Pokemon. The afternoon was spent trying to learn new moves. Ash knew that Pikachu had a lot of electric power as shown by his Thunder Shock, but control wasn't what it should be. To control that, as had Pikachu learned Thunder Wave that move per a small stream of concentrated electricity current that caused the reverse from brain to muscle to an overstimulated cause the body to unable to move. This move caused no other damage than that, which is why Pikachu needed such fine control over his electricity output. Learning the move was beneficial for Pikachu not only to help him control his electricity output, but it was move that could change the tide of the battle. A move paralyzed foe can barely move paralyzed foe with the speed of Pikachu can tear a paralyzed opponent apart. It would also make catching Pokemon much easier since a paralyzed Pokemon struggle less while trying to break out of the Pokeball. So far, Pikachu was struggling to learn the move as he was always overpowering it. The move was coming out as a big thunder shock rather than a thunder wave. The paralyzing effect were random rather than a certain as needed for the thunder wave attack, but the constant effort and gentle encouragement from Ash, he could release a successful thunder wave 8 times out of 10. Not even close to mastering by Ash's standard, but he was getting there. A week in, and Ash and Pikachu were on their way to Viridian City to get their Poke transport to Fusia City. The route was small, a couple of hours of walking to reach there. On the way, they saw a host of Pidgeys, Sparrow, Rattatas, but none of them were appealing to Ash. A couple of Sparrows and Rattatas challenged them, and a couple of Thundershocks from Pikachu were enough to take care of them. This was not the first time Ash had been to Viridian City. His mother has taken him here a few times to buy supplies in Parrot Town. Being isolated did not keep everything. Viridian City may be a city and a home to the most powerful gym leader in Kanto, Choni, but it was still one of the smallest cities in Kanto region. To the north of Viridian City is Route 2, which leads to Viridian Forest and then on to the Future City. To the west, the city is Route 22, which leads to the Indigo Plateau, where the Pokemon Leagues take place. The only place of interest in the city are the gym, the Pokemarket, the Poke Center, where Ash was heading now. As they entered the center, they were surprised to see lobby was pretty much wrecked. Marchers were carrying pillars and stone where their massive strands as their trainer were directing them to help in reconstruction. As went to the front desk and rang a bell, a pretty pink-haired lady came out and greeted him with a pleasant smile. Nurse Joy, one of the countless Joy sisters that worked at the Pokemon Center all across the world. Every Nurse Joy looked identical, and many conspiracies had sprung up to explain this extreme phenomena, among with the identical copies Officer Janice. As favorite was that the league cloned Nurse Joy and Officer Journey, and Nurse Joy voice brought us back to the present. Hello young man, how can I help you? Nurse Joy was gentle and sweet. Hello, can you give my Pikachu a checkup? We have been training last week really hard. I want him to make sure that nothing is wrong with him. Of course, just put him back in your Pokeball, Chansey. She shouted at the end. As took out Pikachu's Pokeball and turned to her, registering looking Pikachu as a round pink colored Pokemon wearing a nurse outfit came in, pushing a tray which held at least 10 slots of Pokemon. This was Chansey's Nurse Joy a sentence. Nurse Joy told me to put Pokeball or Pikachu in one of the slots. As soon as I did so, Chansey took the tray to a room in the back where Nurse Joy told me if I need anything else. Yes, if you don't mind me asking, what the fuck happens here? That Nurse Joy exclaimed with a furious scowl that looked weird on that pretty face. This center was attacked a couple of nights ago by Team Rocket looking to steal Pokemon here. The trainer here fought them off, but the destruction, you can see, caused the collateral damage during the fight. What, Team Rocket? They are back! As questioned with a nervous look on his face. And why would be he nervous? The Team Rocket is a criminal organization that regularly steal abuse Pokemon. They had easily taken control of underground world and were looking to stream that to control world domination. They had mysteriously disappeared a few years ago, but it looked like they're back. This could be a big problem for fucking everyone. That's what's happened. Team Rocket member attacked the center. They were arrested by Officer Jenny. They are not very smart at attacking the center with just a small and coughing. One of the 10 is staying here where an ace trainer. He easily took care of them. Nurse Joy finished with a bright smile. That good news actually. As said with a smile, ace trainers were some of the top trainers employed by the league. Outside the Elite Four and the gym leader, they were usually deployed by the league to other places. They were too insignificant to trouble the Elite Four members. The Elite Four members are tasked to and look over the entire Kanto region, with the gym leaders providing protection to the respective cities they had gyms in. Is there anything else, Joy asked? Just a room for tonight. As asked politely, Pokemon centers were big enough to allowing many trainers to book rooms free of charge. The money was provided by the league itself. Nurse Joy provided me with a key and told me that the room number is this and that. She buzzed of me and my Pokemon were fully healed. As nodded his head before pushing his welly leg to the cafeteria to have his dinner. It has been a long day. Once he finished his dinner, he went back to the lobby to wait for his Pokemon. He didn't have to wait long before Nurse Joy gave him his Pokemon, saying that Pikachu was fine. He just needed some rest. As thanked her, after which he went to his room. Pikachu snuggled sleepy on his shoulder. The room was modest, having only one bed, a small desk, a cupboard, and one adjoining bathroom. There was a pitch wide window, silly, presumably for a bird Pokemon. One corner of the room had a small aquarium for water Pokemon. Pikachu had already jumped onto the bed and was currently fighting with the blanket, having managed to get himself tangled in them. As smiled at the scene before joining Pikachu on the bed and wishing him a good night. Both trainer and the Pokemon were fast asleep in no time. As woke up early the next day, it was the day he was going to the safari zone and thus the day he would catch his first Pokemon. Ash was too excited to sleep any further, so he got up and did his morning absolution before going to the cafeteria for a breakfast. Pikachu following him, it seems that as enthusiasm was infectious as Pikachu was bouncing around excitedly. Once breakfast was over, Ash called his mom to check up on her to tell her that he had reached Viridian City. He had spent some time on the transport going over the Pokédex with Pikachu as they both predicted what Pokemon would be added to the team. It was completely pointless and sometimes a childish conversation, but they both had fun. At 9 o'clock, Ash and Pikachu bounced out of the Pokemon Center. Once outside, Ash looks around, wondering how he will recognize his Poké Transport. But all he knows in the Poké Transport will meet him outside the Pokemon Center in the Viridian City and drop him outside the Pokemon Center in Fusia City. He was started out of nowhere when a man wearing Billy Boing boards appeared in front of him. Suddenly, Pikachu's cheeks sparkled in surprise, but before anything could happen, the man said in a strange way, "You are Ash Ketchum, waiting to transport to Fusia City." Ash opened his mouth to speak, but before he could, the man continued, "Yes, I worked with Lady Sabrina, and I'm here to provide the teleport." Ash tried to say something else, but once again cut off before he could utter a single word. "There's no need to give an idea. I know who are you." Ash stopped trying to talk, wondering if the psychic in front of him could read minds or if he was trying to guess what his thoughts were. Prepare yourself, as Kishan, we will be teleporting now. With that, he released his Cabra. The Cabra spoon glowed blue, and suddenly Ash and Pikachu were in a different city, teleporting like nothing. Ash had thought it would. Ash had all the sort of theories about what teleporting would feel like, from thinking that it would feel like being squeezed through a tube or swirled through time and space, but it didn't feel like that's it. In fact, it felt like nothing. No displacement of air, no sudden rush, nothing. The psychic just looked at Ash with a smug assy, knowing what he was going through his mind, and Ash decided not to think on that much. He was broken out of his thought by saying, "Your journey is in the 3 days on the 10th of April. I will see you again, Daniel." Before Ash could say anything, the psychic and Capra were gone again. That was very, very weird, Ash said. Pikachu. Pikachu nodded with his head in agreement. Anyway, we are in the Fusia city now. To the Safari Zone it is. His earlier enthusiasm returned. The incident with the psychic put on the back of the mind as we dropped at his in a sudden mood swing, but followed as he went to the Safari Zone with a spring in his step. Fusia city wasn't too different from the Pallet Town and Viridian city. As mused as he walked to the Safari Zone, the houses were small, the city looked isolated, rest of the Kanto just like Pallet Town was. When Ash walked into the Safari Zone, he was greeted by a old fucking street looking man who looked up sharply when he heard Ash enter. Welcome to the Safari Zone. My name is Kaiser. I take it that you wish to enter. The now named Kaiser asked Ash. On seeing Ash nodded, he continued. The entry fees is $500 for a single day. You can only catch Pokemon in these Safari balls. So this is the sanctuary for Pokemon here. So fighting there is strictly prohibited. If you want to catch a Pokemon, you must convince him or to come with you. If you capture a Pokemon, the ball comes to me. At the end of the day, I will transfer Pokemons from the Safari Ball to your Pokeball. These are the rules. Do you abide by them? He asked in a nonsense tone. Ash nodded a little, imitated and helped out his Pokédex which worked as an online money transfer system. Kaiser scanned the Pokédex and deducted $500. He returned it to Ash along with his 30 Safari balls and a map of Safari Zone. Ash took the Safari balls with a mutter of thank you before running to the Safari Zone, his enthusiasm getting better of him. The Safari Zone was a beautiful place. Trees and lush grasses as far as sight could see. We found imitating they were really made a beautiful habitat for Pokemon living here. As Egg walked in, he could see few Pokemons about. There were male, female Nidorinos running around being spreaded by the evolutions, Nidorino and Nidorina. He could spot a herd of Rhyhorns aiming around, a few execute comes and some Tauros, a few Kangaskhan, even a couple of Satyrs. All were tempting options, but Ash ignored them for now. The Safari Zone was a huge place. Ash wanted to see all of it before he could catch a Pokemon. Maybe he would catch one of the rare Pokemon from another region. After all, he had 3 days here before he continued his journey. Every year, a number of starting Pokemon trainers, some look to challenge the league, some become coordinators, some breeders, and some just want an adventure. When the other regions become open to trainers from Kanto, hundreds of trainers went there and hundreds go about every year. They go for a couple of years before coming back to Kanto. Their Pokemon they caught eventually made eggs in Kanto. These eggs are given to the league officials who are tasked with finding a proper home for these Pokemon. The league officially goes from route to see if these Pokemon are comfortable living on that route, and some sort of them settle in the Safari Zone. After a couple of hours of walking, Ash and Pikachu come across a sight that Ash squealed out of cuteness being despised a mare. He could see a few Eevees running around and playing with each other. Eevee is a quadruped creature with primarily brown fur. The tip of its large bushy tail is a furry coat on cream colored. It has short, slender legs with three tipped toes and a pink paw on its foot. Eevee has large brown eyes, pointed ears, and a small black nose. In short, Eevee is one of the most adorable Pokemon that exists till now, and sees so many Eevees playing with each other. That was too much for us. He could not make himself stop squealing like a panic. After a few seconds of getting used to it, to the adorableness of seeing so many Eevees at a time, as gained control over himself. His reaction to sight of the Eevee went in this like this never happened. It was just a bad dream part of his mind again. After getting over his embarrassment, as emotions once again did pip as he got excited at the prospect of catching an Eevee. Eevee were at one point of time a rare Pokemon in Kanto. The only way to catch one was if you knew a breeder or a league official, if and they were kind enough to get you one. But with other regions now open to Kanto, the Eevee population grew again. There was an abundance of Eevee in the Kalos region, and Kanto had struck a deal with them to depopulate the Eevee in Kanto. The reason why S wanted to catch Eevee was because Eevee had a rare, irregular genetic structure that allowed it to evolve into many different types of Pokemon. It could evolve into 8 different types of Pokemon, each very powerful when trained right. With that in mind, S walked forward to the group of Eevee since battling here now not allowed. So he hoped to convince one of them to accompany him on his journey. As he neared the group of Eevee, they stopped their frolicking and looked instinctively at S. Again, S had to suppress the urge to squeal at their cuteness. He shook his head and approached them with a friendly smile, squinted down to appear less threatening, and said, "Hi there. My name is Ash fucking Ketchum." He then proceeded to give a similar speech to one he had given to Pikachu when he met him. As he explained his goals and what he wanted from his Pokemon, he ended up by asking if any of the Eevee wanted to accompany him on his journey. The Eevee took his word in and then talked to each other in yep. After some time, Pikachu got up Ash's shoulder and started talking to the Eevee as well. At one point, an Eevee came forward and started talking to Pikachu. It looked like Eevee asked Pikachu something. As the next moment, Pikachu started to explain something animatedly while waving his arm around. Pikachu and the Eevee spoke to each other for a while, after which Eevee walked to Ash and stood in front of him expectantly. "You want to come with me?" asked Ash happily. "Yep, Eevee." Yep, the Eevee went, nodding his head impressively. "Great. Welcome to the family," Eevee exclaimed as he tapped his forehead with a safari ball. The ball shook once before dingling to indicate a successful capture. There was a bright light as the ball disappeared from Ash's hand, surprisingly, as before he remembered that the captured Pokemon go to Kaiser at the Safari Zone entrance. Ash and Pikachu waved a goodbye to the rest of the Eevee before counting on in the Safari Zone. They stopped for a hunger around noon since they had such an early breakfast and were quite hungry. After lunch, they were to another area. Since Safari Zone was so huge, it was divided into 4 areas: Level Center, Area 1, Area 2, Area 3. As far as Ash and Pikachu had spent their time in the center area, and now they are going to the Area 2. Area 2 was slightly different to the center area. Area 2 was filled with flowers. Yellow, red, white, orange, blue. There were a lot of flowers in the area. The Pokemon were more or less the same as they were in the center area, through which disappointed Ash very much, since he expected to see some new Pokemons in the new region. After a couple of hours of exploring, Ash saw what happened to the small slides fitting around flowers. curiously about this, X was forward to see what these lights were. On closer inspection, Ash discovered what those lights were, and the discovery had him going catwalks internally with joy. For those lights were not lights, they were small Pokemon. Fallible. To be exact, Fallible is a Pokemon native to the Kalos region and is one of the exclusive fairy type Pokemon, and Ash wanted to catch it so badly. A fairy type Pokemon can change the course of the battle and advantage against bug type, fighting type, dark type, and the dragon type. The total immunity make them so sought of after. He would spend as long as he needed to convince one of them to accompany him on his journey. With that in his mind, he walked to the Fallible. They were tiny, barely 4 inches long. Their upper body was white while the lower body was green. They had white arms and long snort nostril with a green tail. They had a small yellow colored crown on their head with beady eyes and a small nose. It seems like they had a permanent blush on their cheeks. However, as barely gotten close to them before the Fallible noticed him with a loud shout of their name, all the Fallibles fled into the flower. It looked like they had not wanted to be captured. Ash saw them leave completely disappointed that he had not even have a chance to convince them to join, and he was broken out of his reverie by a Fallible floating in front of his face, sitting on a white flower. The Fallible called out its name, after which it looked at as instinctively as wanted no time before he started trying to convince the Fallible to join on his journey. To Ash's joy, the Fallible nodded its head, signifying that it wanted to be captured. He quickly tapped the Fallible on its head. The ball was sent to the Kaiser. Instead of exploring the region further, Ash and Pikachu went back to the Fusia city. He had achieved what he wanted by adding 2 members to his growing family. Now he just wanted to capture a water type Pokemon, since it would be a massive help in Ash's first gym battle, and he didn't want to capture more than 3 Pokemons right now, since he wasn't sure it could effectively train so many Pokemon so soon in his journey. So he would explore the rest of the Safari Zone where he returned to the Fusia city. The challenge Koga for the Soul West, plus he really wanted to catch a couple of Pokemon that he saw in today. After transferring his Pokemon from the Safari World to his Pokeball, Ash went to the Fusia City Pokemon Center, where he booked a room for 3 nights. After eating dinner, Ash and Pikachu went to their room. Upon sitting, Ash released his Eevee and Fallible. Once released, Ash showed them their Pokédex and told them that he was going to scan them. He pointed it at Eevee, and the robotic voice of the Pokédex rang out. Eevee, the evolution Pokemon. Eevee is a unique Pokemon that can adapt to its environment by changing its form and ability by evolving. The Eevee is a female and has the ability adaptability. This Eevee knows move Helping Hand, Growl, Tackle, Tail Weapons and Attack. This Eevee knows the Egg move Detect, but it has not been unlocked yet. Fallible, the single bloom Pokemon, is drawn out and control the hidden power of the flower. The flower that Fallible holds is most likely a part of his body. This Fallible is female and has the ability Flower Veil. This Fallible knows move Tackle, Wind Weave, Fairy Wind. This Fallible knows Egg move Camouflage, but it has not been unlocked yet. Neither has too many moves right now, but that was fine with us. Both the Pokemon were similar to us, young and eager to explore the world, and they all would grow together. As spent the remaining day bonding with the two, he quickly found out that Fallible was curious about everything and was a bundle of energy, constantly moving around to explore everything. Eevee rarely took a part in the conversation, sitting there regarding everything a slight disinterested manner. It took as some time to realize that Eevee was not being rude. She just had a regal and snobbish attitude, something that Ash would have to work on. Not to get rid of her nature, just curb her arrogance. When it was time to sleep, neither Flabébé nor Eevee wanted to sleep in the Pokeball. Pikachu and Flabébé slept on the either side while Eevee lay down on the foot of the bed with her back turned to the rest of them. Ash just noted at light and decided to let things be for now. He had a lot of time to make Eevee a part of his family. The next day found Ash and Pikachu at the Safari Zone as soon as it's open. After paying entry fees, they entered the Safari Zone and Ash immediately released Eevee and Flabébé so that they could get some fresh air. This would also allow them to bond some more. Ash made a beeline for the big pond and he had found while exploring yesterday. On the reaching the shore, Ash pulled out his fishing rod and threw the line in the sea. He made himself comfortable and told his Pokemon to do some sightseeing since he knew that fishing required patience. Sometimes he didn't have that, but Ash bought it since this will probably be the last time he would have to do something like this. As patience for many hours has passed and Ash was still waiting for a special Pokemon, something like a Flabébé yesterday. Ash knew that he was being unrealistic since he had been lucked out yesterday, but the childish part of him could not help but want a special Pokemon. He figured that if no such Pokemon was discovered by Ash, he would just catch a normal water type Pokemon next day. It was not since he was fishing was bad, the clear pond reflecting the ray of the sun, the pleasant weather, the sound of wild Pokemon, watching Pikachu Flabébé flocking around and laughing as they played what looked like tag. It was nice experience. What made it even better to see Eevee go from downright ignoring everyone to looking at Pikachu and Flabébé curiously as they played while allowing Ash to pet her head. She didn't join the other two Pokemon, nor did she acknowledge Ash other than allowing him to pet her head, but progress was made. There were some specific Pokemon as found in the pond. The most common were Magikarp, which he knew that Magikarp evolved into very powerful Gyarados as wasn't expecting if he could manage to get it to listen. Gyarados were known for their legendary destructive power and even more legendary temper, and Ash wanted to have much more experience before attempting to do something like that. Maybe after a couple of months when he had 6 or 7 badges. There was also some Goldens and Snowpox while Ash was tempted to catch the Snowpox, he would wait till he sees all the Pokemon in the pond before he made a decision. Ash was tempting whether to call it a day and try to again tomorrow. Before he felt a tug on his rod, he slowly reeled the Pokemon in so it not to startle it. When the Pokemon broke the surface, Ash nearly had a heart attack when he saw that it was a serpentine like shape with a blue body, white underside. It has white 3 pointed fins on the side of its head, with a white small bump on its forehead. Above its large, round white snout with an oval purple eyes. This was a fucking Dratini, the Mirage Pokemon, one of the rarest Pokemon in the Kanto region, which final evolution was known as the pseudo legendary Pokemon for its fucking power. Before Ash could even begin to recover from seeing Dratini, the surface of the water was disturbed quite violently. Out of the water come a beautiful blue serpent-like Pokemon, a regal beauty surrounding it. Awing Ash and his Pokemon nearby, Ash had heard the dragon Pokemon always had it regal air around them, appearing wise and majestic, and he now truly understood what that meant. The dragon had hovered in front of Ash, its head tilted curiously, but there was a hint of steel in its eyes that made Ash realize that Dratini as real was Dragonair's baby. Ash snapped out of his reverence and greeted the Dragonair. Hello, Dragonair. My name is Ash Ketchum and I am a Pokemon trainer. I just visited the Safari Zone to catch some Pokemon to accompany on my journey. I was looking for a water type Pokemon when my rod caught the Dratini. As clarified, in case the dragonette thought that Ash was threatening her child. He absolutely did not want to anger a fucking dragon type Pokemon after him. He was not that suicidal now. The dragonette took his word in before nodding his head. As if accepting his word, it was about to go back under the water with the Dratini when Ash called it out. Wait, if it's okay with you, I would like to ask Dratini if it's want to become a part of my team. Well, as knew, the most pseudo-legendary Pokemon are hard to control. Dratini and its evolutions are known to be some of the calmest Pokemon, and Ash knew that if he had a strong bond with Dratini, he would have no problems with his evolution. Plus, Dragonite took a while before it evolved into Dragonite, and Ash hoped that he would gain experience enough to handle it. The Dragonite looked at Ash instinctively while his eyes scanned Ash. Ash held back a shiver as he saw the intelligence eyes of the dragon. It was said that dragon type Pokemons are one of the wisest Pokemon in the world, but Ash had till now not understood what it meant. The eyes seemed to pierce his soul as if his judging was worthy of his child. The dragon made a short cooing sound as if what started as if urging to do something. What that was, Ash had no idea, so he just started talking to Dragoness about him as he could. He thought that the only way to convince is to allow the Dratini to join him, and was telling it about himself. So he started talking about his dreams, and as he got comfortable, he started talking more and more. He spoke about his childhood, his thoughts, his ideals, his needs, everything. As he was talking, he noticed that Pikachu, Fable, Eevee had started listening to his tales curiously, and he realized that even he didn't knew everything. This gave Ash more motivation to lay everything on the table, even if Dratini refused. Pikachu, Fable, and Eevee deserve to know this. They deserve to know that what made them tick. Ash spoke for a long time, considering it was what it has. He felt that he had brought it more, and he was grateful to Dragonair for making him do this, even if wasn't sure if this was what it wanted from him. As was about to leave with his Pokemon, a coup from Dragonair interrupted him. Dragonair and Dratini seemed to be having conversation. At the end of the conversation, the Dragonair and Dratini hugged each other before Dragonair went back into the pond. Dratini, meanwhile, came to the Ash, but it has again Ash's chest while letting out a soft coo. Ash looked at the Dratini in surprise, as if Ash conveyed what Ash could see not have imagined accepted in his wildest dream. He had to confirm it to make sure that he had not perceived wrong things. So he asked Dratini, hoping, breathing in his voice, if it wanted to come with him on his journey. At her answering a cry of acknowledgement, Ash couldn't help but grin widely. He presented a Pokeball. He presented a Safari Ball to Dratini, who poked it with his snout and got thrust into the ball. The ball dingled immediately, showing that the Dratini didn't even try to fight. Ash pumped his fist, bouncing on his feet with excitement, and exclaimed, "I got a Dratini!" And with that, we here end this episode. Well, how was it? And this was completely different from the stories which we saw on the anime or the manga. This was a new and a different type of story. Well, how was it? Just tell me and give some review in the comment section, and like the video if you really like this video. That will encourage me, so please do that. And if you haven't subscribed the channel, then subscribe and turn on the bell icon for the notification of these videos. And a last thing, please like this video, because this will give me, I think I said this before. So anyway, thanks for watching.